Have you ever noticed how the silence in the mountains isn't really peaceful? It hangs differently, heavy, like the trees are holding their breath. That's exactly the kind of morning it was when the knock came at my cabin. Sharp, deliberate, too polite for this part of nowhere. I was halfway through my first cup of coffee, watching the steam curl like it was trying to escape, when it came again. Harder this time. Open up. This is official HOA business. A voice shrilled. Now, my cabin isn't in an HOA. That's the whole point of living out here. But Pine Ridge Estates, the gated community next door, wasn't far, and every so often, their residents wandered through my woods. Usually harmless, emphasis on usually. I opened the door. There she was. Karen, in full war mode. Blonde bob sprayed into combat readiness, sunglasses, blindingly reflective, and a clipboard that looked ready to duel. I knew instantly that the next 15 minutes were going to be a mistake. "Can I help you?" I asked, lifting my coffee like I wasn't already tired of this day. "You can?" She shot back, barging past me like I'd rolled out the welcome mat. "Your yard is in violation." "Violation of what?" I asked. She strutted toward my window like she was about to give a TED Talk. "Pine Ridge Estates HOA regulations prohibit unregistered outbuildings, unapproved fencing." She paused, jabbed a finger at Mark, my friend, stacking firewood like a human Swiss Army knife. Karen gasped as if she'd caught a felony in motion. "Unauthorized labor on HOA property." "It's my yard," I reminded her. "I don't live in Pine Ridge." She blinked. Once, twice, her lips thin like a printer jam. "Well, your property is visible from Pine Ridge. That makes it our concern." Before I could answer, she whipped out her phone and dialed 911. "Yes, emergency. Suspicious men conducting unauthorized construction," she declared, glaring at Mark like he was a cartel kingpin handling illegal timber. "Ma'am," I started, but she held up a hand, silencing me like she owned the forest. Then she did the unthinkable. She marched toward Mark, hand deep in her purse, eyes blazing with righteous absurdity. Mark laughed. That easy, friendly laugh he used when someone was acting ridiculous. "Ma'am, I'm pretty sure stacking wood isn't a crime." Karen didn't laugh, didn't blink, hand still buried in her bag like she was pulling out Excalibur. I stepped out of the cabin. She stopped, then pulled out a small handgun. Not impressive. Just the kind sold to people who believe danger hides in coupon aisles. She aimed it at Mark. "Step away from the supplies. You're trespassing on private HOA property, Karen." "This isn't." Bang. A sharp crack ripped through the trees. A bird exploded out of a nearby pine. Mark staggered back, dropping the log. I froze. The world tunneled. Silence returned, but now it had teeth. Mark fell to one knee, clutching his shoulder. "I'm okay. Just grazed," he hissed, though he clearly wasn't. "Are you insane?" I shouted, sprinting to him. The smell of gunpowder lingered, sharp and bitter. Karen stood, gun in hand, triumphant. "Not scared." Victorizing Sindajan shook her voice. "I told you there were suspicious men. I neutralized the threat before authorities arrived. You shot my friend." I snapped. "On my land." Faint sirens wound through the trees. "Roads." Great. She'd actually called them. Karen tucked the gun into her purse like morning chores were done. "The police will sort this out. Both of you will be removed for non-compliance." Something snapped inside me. Not anger, clarity. If the deputies belonged to Pine County, they knew me. They knew my other line of work. I grabbed my radio off the porch rail. "Dispatch? This is Command Echo. Officer involved incident. Civilian down. Requesting tactical support. Non-lethal standby." Karen heard every word. She saw the gear bag by the door. Her face went chalk white. You're SWAT?" she whispered. "Not just SWAT," I said low. "I lead the team." And the sirens were growing louder, slicing through the forest like warning bells. Pine County deputies don't sneak up, they announce themselves to every critter within 3 miles. Karen froze near the woodpile, clutching her purse like it contained state secrets instead of a cheap firearm. Mark sat on a stump, pressing one of my old flannels to his shoulder. He kept insisting he was fine, but his pale face betrayed him one false step from fainting, though he wouldn't admit it. 2 patrol trucks skidded into the driveway, gravel spraying like fireworks. Deputy Cole was first out, scanning, hand hovering near his holster until he spotted me. Hell, he muttered, jogging over. Echo. What happened? I gestured at Karen, who tried to shrink into herself, radiating chaos like static. She trespassed, threatened Mark, and discharged her weapon, I said. Cole let out a long, weary sigh. He knew Pine Ridge residents all too well. Is that true? Karen launched into performance mode immediately. Officer, these men were violating HOA rules, building illegal structures, and acting suspiciously. I feared for my safety, tried to warn them. You shot him, I cut in, pointing at Mark. That's your interpretation, she snapped. Cole pinched the bridge of his nose. Ma'am, hand over your weapon. Why? I'm going to pretend you didn't just ask that, he muttered, before things could settle. My radio buzzed. Command, Echo, tactical unit en route. ETA 30 seconds. Cole raised an eyebrow. You called your team for this? She shot Mark, I said simply. And she's not alone. Cole blinked. Not alone? I turned toward the forest trail leading to Pine Ridge. Leaves rustled. Footsteps. Dozens of them. And then, like a half-baked parade, the Pine Ridge HOA board marched into the clearing. Matching windbreakers, clipboards, phones out, recording everything. The president, Mr. Howerin, stepped forward. This entire area is under HOA review. Remove your weapons and vacate immediately. Cole stared. I stared. Mark stared, wincing as he shifted his weight. Then, exactly on cue, my SWAT truck tore through the tree line, lights blazing. The HOA board collectively gasped. Everyone on the ground. One of my team shouted. Karen's face collapsed into pure horror. This was far from over. The clearing erupted, but not outward imploding, like reality hit everyone all at once. My SWAT team poured from the armored truck, in controlled formation. Helmets gleaming, rifles slung low in non-lethal posture. They didn't aim at anyone, yet they didn't need to. The whole board folded inward like terrified lawn flamingos. Howerin immediately shoved himself behind 2 other members. Clipboard held like a riot shield. This is a misunderstanding. We're conducting a community compliance inspection, he stammered. One of my officers, Torres, stepped forward. Sir, you're 50 yards outside your jurisdiction. Half your group is trespassing. Also, he pointed at Karen. One of you discharged a firearm and injured a civilian. Karen slowly knelt, hands raised. I thought I was defending community safety, she whimpered. Cole shook his head. Lady, you defended nothing. I knelt beside Mark as our medic evaluated him. You're lucky, the medic said. Graze like you said, but you won't be doing push-ups anytime soon. Mark gave a weak grin. Tragic. Meanwhile, the HOA board started whispering amongst themselves. We told you Karen was too enthusiastic, one hissed. You approved her, another snapped back. Howerin puffed up again. You can't detain us. We're a governing body. Torres blinked. Of what? Sidewalk paint colors? Normally, I stay professional, but adrenaline and exhaustion shrink your filter. I stepped forward. You stormed private property after one of your members shot someone. You brought half your leadership to inspect a cabin. You don't control. You escalated a situation you created. You're lucky this ends with paperwork instead of a helicopter. Howerin went silent. In the end, Cole cuffed Karen for reckless endangerment and trespassing. The rest of the board was escorted back to Pine Ridge, simmering with embarrassment and enough gossip fuel for a decade. As the sirens faded, and my team packed up, the forest exhaled quiet, still like it was resetting itself. Mark nudged me with his good arm. Think they'll send a fruit basket? I snorted. If they do, I'm having the bomb squad check it first. And just like that, the mountains returned to being mountains. No HOA, no clipboards. Just quiet. The way I'd wanted it all along. If this story hits home for you, tap like it tells the algorithm you stand with people who refuse to be pushed around. Subscribe to Karen's Hub so you never miss another moment where real people fight back and win. And tell me in the comments, faced with that kind of chaos, what would you have done?